Deco just dropped a huge major breaking news about many players for Barcelona on an interview. We're going to be talking about Christensen, Ter Stegen. He even talked about Nico Williams. He even talked Araujo. He talked about SZCZESNY and a few other things that are being mentioned that it's worth talking about it and getting my take. So guys, welcome to Barça Volume. Welcome to another video about the latest news surrounding Barcelona. But guys, you guys know the drill. Before, hit the like button. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't. We're trying to get to 2,000 subscribers. And guys, let me know in the comments, what are your thoughts about Deco? So let's get started. So the very first news we're going to be talking about here is Andreas Christensen. Okay, it says Andreas Christensen expected to leave Barcelona this summer as part of the plans. We have 5 center backs, Deco said, right? We have center backs, 5 center backs, and one needs to leave because the position is overcrowded, Deco said today. Okay, so my take on Christensen, I really have a soft spot for Christensen. I think Christensen is the kind of player that in reality I want to stay at Barca, just because the inconsistencies that we get with Araujo. And I'm going to be talking about Araujo here in just a second, because he also said something about Araujo that I thought it was really interesting. But in my opinion, I think Christensen is more a player who's leaving his prime. It's more of a player who's we already know what we get from him. It's one of the reasons why I don't want him to be gone, because I know what I'm getting from Christensen day in and day out. He's very sound. He's very focused. He doesn't make a ton of mistakes. He knows what to do in difficult situations. Kind of like the contrarian to Araujo, to be quite honest with you. But yeah, let me know guys in the comments. It's gonna be a quick video, quick takes. So guys, let me know what you think. Do you think Christensen should stay, or do you think Christensen should go? So now in this interview, right, Deco confirms that SZCZESNY will sign a new deal and stay with us next season. The agreement it's until June 2027. It's in place since 2 weeks ago, preparing documents to get it sealed. So Barcelona was working on the Nico Williams deal, and this is why they haven't dropped this news yet. But apparently Deco, it's confirming that SZCZESNY will be with us next season, which is amazing, which is great. This is nothing new. I expected, as I've said before on this channel, if you haven't noticed already, I expect John Garcia to be the starting goalkeeper, and I expect SZCZESNY to be the backup. And this is basically confirming kind of those things that we already expected. So that leaves us with Iñaki Peña having to leave the club. But he also said something about Ter Stegen that I thought it was really interesting. Okay, so Deco says, and I'm gonna read it, and then I'm gonna get you my thoughts on that as well. I don't need to speak with Ter Stegen. My job is to build the best possible squad for the coach, not deciding who plays. No contract guarantees anyone's starting spot. It's the coach who makes those decisions. That's what Deco told La Vanguardia, which is the interview that he had. Okay, so my thoughts on this is Deco is 100% right. His job isn't to speak on players or like to hype or to just disappoint players, right? His job is not to speak to them and in that sort of aspect. His job is more matter of fact, contracts and all of that. But now, that doesn't mean that you need to come out and say that. That's already implied. The fact that you came out and said it, it comes across a little condescending, and quite frankly, I think it was a little unnecessary. And this is when I go back to the way we are treating Ter Stegen. In my opinion, I think it's a little over the top. I think there's a few things that Barcelona could have done better, and there's a lot of things that also Ter Stegen could have done better. I do still believe in Ter Stegen, his abilities to play, his abilities to make saves and do a great job in the goalkeeper position, but I do think that it's time to close, to just close the chapter in both Barcelona and Ter Stegen. But at the end of the day, I do think that we're being a little harsh with him when it comes to that. And this is just another example of that. Even though Deco is 100% correct on what he's saying, I think that just the way we're handling it, it still doesn't mean you can't talk to the player and let him know what the plans. In my opinion, I think a director can still talk to the players and let them know and just be honest and be straight with it. So Deco elaborates on that friendship with LAMINE and Nico Williams, apparently. So he says, Deco on LAMINE friendship to facilitate Barca move. Nico's name was already on the table last season. The idea of signing him has always been there. Their friendship is a nice bonus, of course, but this isn't a club of friends. We're here to work and win. Didn't like the fact that Lamine Yamal and Nico Williams were friends and that this could potentially hurt. And I think they saw the backlash of that and they kind of backtracked it a little bit. And this is a prime example where he says the friendship is a bonus. So now he changed his way of thinking, or he changed the narrative, because he said it was hurting, and now it's basically saying that it's a bonus. And I agree with this statement, by the way. It's just like Cristiano Ronaldo said when they asked him about how the MSN has such a great friendship with Messi and company, and maybe the friendship between Cristiano Ronaldo, Benzema, and Gareth Bale was not the same. And he basically said, well, we won Champions League. We don't need to be friends. We don't need to go out to eat. And I think it's true. But at the same time, there's nothing wrong with having a great genuine friendship between the players. The chemistry just works so much better, in my opinion. Deco also confirmed that all the negotiations and all the news outlets are true, basically saying, yes, Nico Williams wants to come and we will try. He's basically not guaranteeing. Nico, same as other players, is showing a strong desire to come, and if the right conditions are met, in his case, we'll definitely try to complete the deal. Basically the same interview. So I think what Deco's doing here is basically confirming everything about Nico without having to speak on a lot of give up a lot of information. As we all know, or maybe some of you do, some of you don't, Bayern Munich is trying to hijack the Nico Williams deal. They basically offering him, I think initially they had offered him 8 million. And now they're going and jumping up all the way to 10 million to try to hijack that deal from Barcelona. And this is one of the reasons maybe why Deco is saying this, because he wants to prepare us for, if Nico changes his mind, and if Nico, I don't know if you've seen everything that's going on with Bilbao, but they are trying to do the best they can to let it be known that they don't want Nico Williams to go to Barcelona. And all of a sudden, Barcelona is this huge enemy that apparently Barcelona cannot be interested in any player from their club, apparently, because every player that Barcelona is interested, they're treating him like a traitor. So I just don't understand that, and I will probably make another video where I deep dive into what I just said. So another thing that I talked about, so Deco also talked Ansu Fati. He said with his age and career, Ansu Fati can't stay without playing. I agree. If he leaves, it will be on a loan. He is 23, but people talk about him like he's 30. He still has a lot to grow and learn. I think what I'm reading into what Deco's saying here, I think it's talking about his negotiations with AS Monaco. And I think that maybe this is something that along those lines were happening between the back and forth. Maybe Monaco didn't see him as a big prospect, and maybe Monaco wasn't trying to, maybe they disrespected him a little bit when it comes to what Barcelona was asking, what they wanted to do. Ultimately, what I know is that Barca wanted at least Monaco to cover 50%. They wanted to cover 30%, and I think that Monaco wanted the first shot of buying the player before Barcelona. So I don't know exactly, the details haven't really come out, but in my opinion, I have a strong belief in Ansu Fati, to be honest, and I think that Ansu Fati can really thrive even if we send them to a team in La Liga like Villarreal, a team like La Real Sociedad. There's other teams in La Liga that he can do very well, and he can start every single game, and he can show what he can do, honestly. And I think that that's where Barcelona is with Ansu Fati at this moment. He also talked Frankie de Jong, and basically he said this is the de Jong we want. We want him to stay with us. He has one more year under his contract with us, and we are going to analyze things calmly. I think Frankie de Jong will be one of the last things that Deco is going to address in the offseason. There's plenty of other things, and I think he has seen what he wants to see from Frankie de Jong. He fired his agent, who really wanted to push for Barcelona to pay him even more money and wanted to send him to another club. And I think that's why Frankie de Jong fired his agent, because his agent really was looking for him to make more money and not the best interest of the player, which I think I applaud that from Frankie de Jong. And the fact that he fired him because he wants to stay and he wants to restructure his deal, I think that speaks volumes to Frankie de Jong. And I know many Barca fans just want to let him go, and I think it's a mistake. But you guys let me know in the comments, do you want him to stay or do you want him to leave? Let me know, and I will be reading you guys. But for now, I'm happy that Frankie de Jong and Barcelona are in good terms and everything's moving in the right direction. And then last but not least is going to be the Araujo topic. It says one center back will leave, but Ronald Araujo is not in our plans to leave. And he received unfair criticism last year. He's one of the best defenders in the world. Okay, so there's two things about this. Okay, I do agree with Deco. If you guys follow my channel, if you watch my live streams, you know I've said that Araujo's criticism has been unfair and that we're very reactionary fan base. That we just look at one mistake and we just think that he sucks and he's finished. He's got great size, he's got great speed, he's a great defender. He just hasn't adapted to the high line, and I think that one of the issues from Araujo is just he hasn't had enough time to play under Hansi Flick. He hasn't had time to get into a rhythm. He didn't have the trust of the coach to play more minutes. He was injured this season as well, so there's a lot of things that happen with Araujo. We just need him to be healthy. One more go at it, one more season. Now, I will say this: if Barca keeps Araujo, it's gonna be a little risky. Why? Because Araujo right now has great value. He was, like I said, because of those reasons I said, hasn't had time to play under Flick because he was injured, because he was off and on, and he's actually performed really well many of the times that he plays, but in just a few of those moments where he made mistakes, so it's like a magnifying glass. So every time he makes some mistakes, everything's so glorified and so mentioned, right? And then at the same time, other clubs can see that and say, no, he's good. He just gets a lot of criticism, and right now he has great value, maybe 50 to 60 million, but let's say that we do keep him and he has another season like he had in 2024, 2025, then now we're in trouble, because if we want to sell him next season, his stock is going to be way low. Right now, let's say that we want the stock to be here, for example, and his stock maybe could be right here. So his stock, if he has another bad year, he's going to be way low. You're not going to be able to sell him for anywhere near 50 to 60 million. You're going to let him go for like 35, 40. So that is the risk that we're taking. And right now, if we can go sell him for 60, that would be the perfect scenario. Maybe we can keep Christensen and Inigo Martinez at the backfield. So the only issue with that as well is that now we're relying on two older players. This is why I don't actually agree with Deco. I think we should just keep everyone. Even though he feels like it's overcrowded, I think we need to keep it and just rotate. It's what I would do. I don't trust Inigo Martinez next season. I don't know how he's gonna be. Then I don't trust Christensen to stay healthy, and I don't trust Araujo's inconsistencies. So when you combine all that together, I think that we should keep every single center back we can, so we can have depth next season. So, but you guys let me know in the comments, what are your thoughts about Deco dropping huge nuggets and huge insights on how the transfer market is moving for Barcelona. But let me know in the comments. I'll be reading every single one of you and be replying to every single comment. But guys, I'll catch you guys in the next video.